Listen to this sentence. She felt tired, so she went to bed. It's correct, it's clear. But now, listen to this one. Feeling tired. She went to bed. The second sentence is more elegant, more concise, more literary. It sounds like it came from a novel. That small change is a participle clause. It's an advanced technique that writers use to add style, flow, and sophistication to their stories. And today, you are going to learn how to use it. Welcome back to our advanced series, English Grammar Unlocked. I'm your host, Scarlett. Today, we are learning an elegant skill that will make your English writing sound much more impressive. Participle clauses. In this episode, we will turn this grammar lesson into a page from an artist's diary. First, we will read the diary of a young artist named Amelia to see how these special clauses express actions and feelings concisely. Second, we will master 10 essential vocabulary words for understanding this literary grammar tool. And finally, for our language focus, we will break down the 3 types of participle clauses: the present, the past, and the perfect participle. Are you ready to write with more style? First, let's solve the puzzle of how to describe 2 actions happening at the same time, without just using the word and. Let's look at Amelia's diary entry from a busy Monday. Part 1. Actions at the same time. Present participle clauses. Our story today is told through the diary of a young artist named Amelia. She is working hard on a big project for her art school. Let's read her entry from Monday evening. What a long day. Right now, I am sitting by the window in my small studio. Sitting by the window, I can watch the rain fall outside. It's very calming. Humming a quiet song to myself, I started to sketch some new ideas in my notebook. Earlier today, I went for a walk to find inspiration. I saw a man walking quickly down the street, holding a large, colorful umbrella. Knowing I had a lot of work to do, I came back to the studio and started to paint. Let's pause Amelia's story. The phrases in bold are our first type. Present participle clauses. A present participle is the ing form of a verb. The main job of this clause is to connect 2 actions that are happening at the same time, or one action happening immediately after another. And both actions must be done by the same subject. Look at the first sentence. Sitting by the window, I can watch the rain. Who is sitting by the window? I am Amelia. Who is watching the rain? I am Amelia. The 2 actions happen at the same time. This is more elegant than saying, I am sitting by the window, and I am watching the rain. This clause can also show the reason for an action. Look at the last sentence. Knowing I had a lot of work to do, I came back to the studio. This is a sophisticated way of saying, because I knew I had a lot of work to do, I came back. It connects the reason and the result in a very smooth, literary way. We can describe what someone is doing But how do we describe how they are feeling? Or how do we describe an action that is done to something or someone? For this, we need a different kind of participle. Let's continue with Amelia's diary. Part 2. Describing feelings and states. Past participle clauses. It is now Wednesday. Amelia is feeling the pressure of her project. She writes about a visit to a museum for inspiration. Today was difficult. Worried about my deadline. I felt a lot of pressure. So I went to the museum to clear my head. I saw an old, beautiful statue in the garden. The statue, made of bronze, was covered in green moss from the rain. Placed in the center of the garden, it looked very peaceful. Later, I returned to my studio. I looked at a letter on my desk. The letter, written by my professor, gave me some feedback on my work. Inspired by the beautiful statue and the professor's kind words, I felt my energy return. Let's pause again. We are now seeing past participle clauses. A past participle is the third form of a verb, which often ends in ed or n. For example, made, placed, written, worried, inspired. This type of clause often has a passive meaning. The statue was not making bronze. It was made of bronze. The letter was not writing. It was written by her professor. This is a very concise way to add a passive description to a noun. We also use past participle clauses to describe feelings and emotions. Worried about my deadline. I felt a lot of pressure. This describes her emotional state. It has a similar meaning to because I was worried about my deadline. It's a very common and elegant way to start a sentence that describes how a feeling led to an action. We know how to talk about actions happening at the same time. But how do we show that one action was completely finished before the next one started? For this, we need the most advanced tool in our kit. Part 3. One action after another. Perfect participle clauses. It is now Friday. The end of a long, hard week. Amelia writes in her diary with a feeling of relief. Friday. I did it. Having finished my final painting this afternoon, I feel a great sense of relief. Having worked so hard all week, I decided to reward myself with a nice dinner. I called my best friend, having already decided to invite her to my favorite restaurant. She said yes. It will be a wonderful evening. This is our third and final type. The perfect participle clause. The structure is having plus the past participle. Its job is to show a clear sequence of events. It tells us that the first action was 100% completed, and then the second action happened. Look at the first sentence. Having finished my final painting, I feel a great sense of relief. The action of finishing the painting is completely done. The result is the feeling of relief. This is a more formal and elegant way of saying, after I finished my painting, or because I have finished my painting. It connects the completed past action to the present result in a very sophisticated way. This structure is very common in writing, and can make your English sound very impressive. Amelia's diary has shown us the beautiful, concise language of a true writer. Now, are you ready to become a grammar expert? Let's analyze the powerful tools she used to express herself. Part 4. Language Focus. First, our 10 essential vocabulary words. For today's lesson, our first word is participle. A participle is a word formed from a verb, usually ending in ing, the present participle, or ed, the past participle. For example, walking and walked are participles of the verb walk. Our second word is clause. A clause is a group of words that includes a subject and a verb. For example, feeling tired, she went to bed, contains two clauses. Our third word is concise. Concise means short and clear, expressing what needs to be said without unnecessary words. For example, participle clauses help you to write in a more concise style. Another example is, his email was clear and concise. Next, we have elegant. Elegant means graceful and stylish. We can use it to describe writing that is beautiful and pleasing. For example, participle clauses can make your writing sound more elegant. Another example is, she has a very elegant way of speaking. Our fifth word is simultaneous. Simultaneous means happening or done at the same time. For example, present participle clauses can describe two simultaneous actions. Another example is, the two explosions were almost simultaneous. The sixth word is sequence. A sequence is the order in which a series of things happen. For example, perfect participle clauses show a clear sequence of events. Another example is, he described the sequence of events that led to the accident. Our seventh word is to modify. In grammar, to modify means to add information to another word to change its meaning. For example, a participle clause modifies the subject of the main clause. Another example is, adjectives are used to modify nouns. Next, we have narrative. A narrative is a story or a description of a series of events. For example, Amelia's diary is a personal narrative. Another example is, the novel is a compelling narrative of war and peace. Our ninth word is diary. A diary is a book where you write about your thoughts, feelings, and experiences each day. For example, we learned about grammar by reading an artist's diary. Another example is, she has kept a diary since she was a little girl. And our final word is exhausted. Exhausted means extremely tired. For example, exhausted from a long week, she looked forward to the weekend. Another example is, I was too exhausted to go out. Now for our grammar focus. Participle clauses. Let's do a final review of the three types. Type 1. The present participle. Ing form. Its job is to describe actions happening at the same time, or to show the reason for an action. Example: Walking home, I listened to a podcast. Type 2. The past participle, ed, form. Its job is to give a passive meaning or to describe a feeling. Example: shocked by the news. He sat down. Type 3. The perfect participle. Having plus past participle. Its job is to show that the first action was completely finished before the second one began. Example: having eaten dinner, we watched a movie. You've learned the theory of how to write like a novelist. Now, it's time for your workout. How can you practice this elegant and sophisticated skill? Part 5. Practice tips for the 4 skills. For listening, listen to the beginning of an audiobook or a well-written documentary. Narrators often use participle clauses to set a scene and describe actions in a very literary way. For speaking, this is an advanced skill, but you can try it. Describe your morning routine, connecting 2 actions with a present participle. For example, I woke up early today. Feeling energetic, I went for a run. For reading, open any novel by a famous author. You will find participle clauses on almost every single page. Read one page and highlight all the participle clauses you can find. See how they connect ideas and make the writing flow. And for writing, this is the best practice. In your journal, practice combining simple sentences into one sentence with a participle clause. For example, write 2 simple sentences. I finished my homework. I felt relieved. Now, combine them into one elegant sentence. Having finished my homework, I felt relieved. Part 6. Your next action. Today, you have learned a skill that is a sign of a truly advanced and confident writer. By learning to use participle clauses, you are moving beyond just communicating basic information. You are learning the art of telling a story with style, grace, and elegance. As we conclude, let's quickly summarize our lesson. We read Amelia's diary and discovered the 3 types of participle clauses. Present participles for simultaneous actions, past participles for passive meaning and feelings, and perfect participles for sequential actions. We also learned 10 essential vocabulary words for this topic. As a review, those words were participle, clause, concise, elegant, simultaneous, sequence, to modify, narrative, diary, and exhausted. Now, I have a final challenge for you. Try to combine these 2 sentences into one. I watched the video. I learned something new. Share your new, elegant sentence using a participle clause in the comments below. If you are committed to making this mindset a part of your life, show your energy by smashing that like button. Be a hero for a friend by sharing this video with someone you know who loves to write. And to lock in your commitment to learning, subscribe and smash that notification bell so you don't miss our next workout. Remember, you are learning to be not just a speaker, but a storyteller. Until next time, take care and happy learning.